Gentlemen, I've been wanting to do this interview and to get to meet this guy for a long time. Today we're going to talk about Godfather, and in my mind it's Godfather ATL. The reason I gotta say Godfather ATL is because there was another really great radio operator that was out here in the Northwest. His handle was Godfather in Portland. I got to meet him first. I don't know who came first or who was second. My godfather out here passed away a few years ago. May he rest in peace. But the legend, Godfather down there around the ATL, the guy should have been a radio disc jockey. I mean, his voice is, oh man. You know when you're talking to people and you're like, whew, man, your voice is as silky smooth as they can possibly get. Natural bass tones, I mean, just a legend. The guy has been on the radio for 40 years, 50 years. So, first, before we jump into anything, I want to say thank you, 12, at 12 in the Valley Productions. Old Big 12 out there on the coast. He's a bad mofo. He threw in, and he was the one that really is one of the driving forces behind me being able to go do these interview videos. You got to think the amount of time that it takes to drive from where I'm at in the United States to where most of these guys live, which is usually the opposite side of the world. It's no cheap feat, right? The other people I want to thank are the Patreon supporters, these guys over here. All you got to do to join on Patreon is go to patreon.com, create an account, select what tier that you want to be able to provide support to me, the Patreon, patrons. You'd be patrons, I'd be the Patreon. Anyhow, it's like $1. I would have set it lower, but they won't let me set it any lower, right? You guys choose what you want to do. 99% of the money that goes into that group gets saved. It gets set aside for cameras. It gets set aside for the computers. It gets set aside for the memory cards, the microphones, the lights, the tripods, and it pays for these trips. The other thing it allows me to do is offset, so I don't have to do YouTube video or the YouTube ads. Look, YouTube's changing the rules on a daily. All right. And when I first started into YouTube, it paid okay. Now it doesn't pay hardly nothing at all. And to offset that cost, so I don't have to do ads, because I can't stand the ads. If you look at the age demographic that you and I share, we are not what YouTube is keyed into. YouTube is not keyed in for the 40, the 50, the 60, the 70, the 80-year-old person. It's just not. So the ads that would get run in this video are wildly inappropriate and nothing that I want to have attached to my content. So when I reached a certain level with Patreon, I just said no more ads in the video. YouTube will not let me do a complete ad-free. They will, but it's a little more complicated. So unfortunately, you guys got to sit through 1 or 2 ads at the beginning of the video, but there is nothing else throughout the rest of this video. So you guys are going to sit back, be able to relax and enjoy an hour's worth of content with no ad interruptions, either on your phone, on your tablet. I don't know, you might have ad blocker. If you're smart, you'd have ad blocker, I'm just saying. It's all because of the support of the Patreon people over here. Okay. Patreon.com BBIMs. You'll come find me. I do a bunch of content just for the Patreon supporters. Like this video here, they're going to get it a full 2 days before it comes out to the public. Anything and everything that I work on and I put up for sale here on the Healing Bench, they have access to it as it's happening or before it even goes up for sale. It's worth it. It's worth $1, I think. Anyhow, big shout out to 12 in the Valley. Big shout out to the Patreon supporters. If you haven't thought about joining me, you probably should on Patreon. There's a lot of stuff that makes it there that never ever makes it out to the, Facebook and the Twitter thing. I'm thinking about going over and starting to put some of my content on X and Rumble. YouTube it's becoming a toxic environment that I'm not too sure that I want to have anything to do with. I guess would be the best way to put it. But all that aside, let's move on. My friend Godfather, always, always, always has been a pleasant person to talk to. He's funny, he's quick-witted. Man, does he have an electric voice. Electric voice. On this trip, I'll talk about it in the video. I ran over something in the road. I ended up wiping out a couple of the tires on my truck. Little did I know that as soon as I got home, about 2 weeks after I got home from this trip, that truck was going to be totaled. That's okay. It happens in life. We've moved on. You guys, I cannot wait to show you Vader 2.2, the new truck. It's gorgeous. Gorgeous vehicle. And I can't wait to show you the install video that I'm working on for that. So here we are. I spent the day before with Jack of Diamonds, did the interview with him, had a wonderful meal with him and his lovely wife and his entire family, which was very impressive. I go over to Godfather's place. Big, beautiful home up on a hill in this beautiful, beautiful subdivision. Way laid back in the woods is the antenna. Nice, big, beautiful home. His wonderful wife. She's very sweet. And it was a pleasure to get to come to their home. And for that, I say, Godfather, thank you for hosting me. And thank you for letting us do this interview video with you. And on that note, I'm going to turn it over to him. We're going to jump right into the interview. My good friend, Godfather, around the ATL.
I heard Bullet Bob today saying he was going to leave Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, going to be in New Orleans. He said he'll be in New Orleans Tuesday evening.
Yeah, I'll probably get there Wednesday sometime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not in any hurry at this point.
I know.
I've the hard bit of the trip is over with. A lot of it was Texas, just being there working, and I was like being at a job again.
Oh yeah.
Being partially retired that I am, you know.
Mm.
I'll go up there, and then I got some friends I want to go see in Colorado, and then home.
Okay. So really, when you're leaving here, that's what you end up. You're going on. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, you'll be heading west. So.
Yeah, I'll start heading home.
Mm.
This is far south, and as far east as I'm going to go on this trip. I've come close. I was on the north side of Atlanta when I stopped and seen Derail, but our friend up the street got sick, and.
Mm. Oh, you been by Derails already?
No, that was last year.
Oh, last year.
I already did another big trip down through.
He was out there this evening talking. I could hear his back scatter here. It was just terrible back scatter all over, boy.
He's got a big old box down there.
Oh yeah, I saw that box. I saw that box when I saw the one that has the 4 tubes in it. That's the one that Van built for him. Yeah. I used to go there and watch him put stuff in it and do this, and then he had all the blowers on. I said, I hope he got this in a room way out somewhere else, because he won't hear it. He's close to it with all those fans, you know, with all those blowers.
He's got a sound deadening wall that the amp sits in, that's plexiglass, and then kind of like an open space, and then another wall. He's inside of that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he moved. He got a new place now.
Yeah, he's down the hole. Literally.
He is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you come over the hill and you drive down and down and down and down and down. It's like you can literally stand at his driveway and see the top of his beam.
No kidding. He was having some terrible naval problems one while.
He's killing a washing machine or something or other. Washer and dryer combo is killing it, just killing it.
No kidding.
Yeah.
There's another guy that lived there, Ron Derail. He used to call himself 10-9.
Mm-hmm.
10-9 got something, I don't know what it is, but he turned that thing on. It cut down the whole town. Just stopped everything. Just everything went blank. You don't key it up anymore. So
the only one that I really wanted to get out of northern Georgia was Reverend 455.
455. Oh yeah, he's over in Athens. Yeah.
I wasn't able to get a hold of him, and I don't know if I could get a hold of him. I'd drive up north and go see him.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an hour to get around Atlanta.
Yeah. Yeah, he's in Athens, and that's about an hour and a half from here, or something like that. Athens, Georgia.
So where did you start?
Radio?
Yeah.
Oh, back in 70, I think around 71, 70 or 71, something like that. And because when I was in the Army, I had those radios in the Jeep, we would get a frequency, and that's when I would monitor,
Mm-hmm.
And so when I started working here in Atlanta, this guy used to call himself Little Cupid. He passed away. He was telling me about the CB radio. I said, look, man.
Little Cupid?
Yeah. I said, man, I do.
Was he running around shooting arrows for all the girls' hearts or something?
He was trying to.
Right.
I told him, I said, look, man, I said, I've been in radios for 2 years, and I said, I don't hear anything about no radio. So eventually, he was telling me about how he talked on the CB radio. I wasn't interested in it. And one day I come to work, and a friend of mine had a Midland walkie-talkie, a little walkie-talkie. And she said, "Man, I got me a little walkie-talkie, man." He went out on the dock and started talking, and the guy came back to him. I said, "Oh, I like that." I said, "Let me talk on it." He would hold the walkie-talkie and mash the button, and then I would talk. He wouldn't let me hold it. He said, "You have to have a license." I said, "Okay." I didn't know it.
Wow,
So,
talk about go back in time, huh?
yeah.
Yeah.
So the next day when I got to work, I had my own Midland walkie-talkie that I could talk on. And but when you're driving you want to talk, you have to let the window down and let the
Stand
antenna
out the
out.
window, yeah.
So I went by this radio shop, and this guy told me, "So look, I'll tell you what I can do." He said, "I can put a adapter on your walkie-talkie, and you can put an antenna on the trunk of your car. You don't have to do that." So his antenna go plug in his place right here. I said, "Will?" I said, "Put it on." So he put it on. So I would ride around. I was calling myself Rocket Jock because I was working part-time at a radio station.
Okay.
You know.
Imagine that with your voice. Yeah.
And I would fill in sometime at night, and I said, "Well, okay, I'd be Rocket Jock on this CB radio." So I was calling myself Rocket Jock, bad as walkie-talkie in Atlanta. I just talked. And finally, I was sitting down in my house one day, and I had put a copper wire out in the backyard. And I had ran a wire to that, a little coax to that, and I sit in the house with my walkie-talkie, right? And I could talk. And all of a sudden, man, this dude called me and said, "Hey, Rocket Jock." I said, "Whoa." I said, "Yeah, go ahead. This is Bob Ford. How you doing?" I said, "I'm doing great. How you doing?" He said, "I'd like to meet you. You really want to talk on the radio." So he told me where he was, right down the street. So I went down to this little place, that had a little club light. So he was sitting there. He was in a Cadillac, had the antenna up. I said, "That gotta be him right there." So I walked up. He said, "Yeah, man, I'm Bob Ford. Call me Triple Deuce." I said, "Okay." So we sat there and talked, and he would key them back, and all them little things would light up. It had the amplifier, and that was just exciting. He said, "Now the first thing you need is a radio. And put that down walkie-talkie somewhere, but you need a radio."
Sit it on the shelf, yeah.
So I went out to the shop over in East Point. It was Brown and Gordon. There's a radio shop over there, CB radio shop. And I bought a Blackface Johnson tube radio.
How many channel?
6
Crystals.
yeah. So everybody in Atlanta talked on Channel 11, so I got that. Sit that up in the car and everything, and it was talking a little bit, and he told me, "So you want me to scrap the tubes out?" I said, "What that mean?" He said, "That'd give you about 6 watts if I run a strap on it." I said, "Strap it." So he did.
Sure.
Yeah, he did something to it, man. I had 6 watts. So I was talking. I had a good time talking, and what really got me, I was at this car wash in Atlanta, and I was in line. Skip just rolling all out of California, just rolling.
Right.
I got this radio with 6 watts. And I was yelling, trying to talk to whoever I heard. All of a sudden, this guy said, "What that mobile down there in Atlanta, Georgia, that car wash? How about that Rocket Jock?" Oh, man. I went back to him. I kept calling. I couldn't get back to him to save my life. So we had a little place over on Bankhead where all the CBS would go, a little coffee shop, and we would go over there. I couldn't wait to get over there to tell the guys that I had talk Skip to California. Man, I pull in, I come in, they said, "We don't want to hear it. We heard that man call you. We heard it. We sit right here listening at it." I said, "You heard it?" And that one guy, he said, "Man," and the other dude sitting over there said, "Man, you need you a foot warmer."
Help you out a little bit.
Yeah, you need your foot warmer.
What year was this, you think?
This is around 73, 72, 73 area. He was still in the early 70s. So finally I got that, and I was taught a little bit, and then I ended up getting a base station.
So what kind of warmer did you get?
I had a little vomit. Take that back. It was a heck. It had 1 tube in it. A heck about that big, had 1 big old tube in it. And when he put it in, when I keyed it up, it made a noise, so.
High voltage rectifiers.
Yeah. So when I keyed the mic, God, he said, hold, I forgot something. Unkey it, I forgot something. I said, "What?" He said, "I got to take that scrap off those tubes, bring the radio in." Because he said, "You're putting too many watts in it." So you took it back to about 3 watts, and then I would key up on it, and that thing talked a little bit. I enjoyed it.
So what, about 100 watts?
100 watts. That was it, man. And I had probably the first Heath kit in Atlanta. And how I ended up with that, I went to a breakup in Memphis, Tennessee. I hear they call them coffee breaks. So I went to this breakup there in Memphis, and this guy named Barbecue Man, he's a big man in Memphis. You know, he had a big party at his house. His Cadillac didn't have any handle, they had mash buttons to open the doors and all that stuff. And they got to his house, this big fence. He said, now everybody coming here, we're gonna be here all night, nobody leaving, we're just gonna party. It's all right with
Keys
me.
in a bowl, we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah. And I went in the room, and this guy was talking on the radio. And I looked, I said, what? I had never seen 1,000 watts on a watt meter in my life. I'd never seen that, you know.
That's 1970 what?
Yeah, despite 1974, 74, because it had to have been around between 73 and 74, because I just got in it. So anyway, this guy was talking on the radio. When he keyed, I seen 1,600 watts. I said, what in the world is that? He told me, he said, man, I went all the way to Atlanta, Georgia to get that. You went, where? He said, Atlanta, Georgia. I was ready to come home. When he said Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah, he's on Roswell Road. And I used to go by it every day. I saw the Heath. When he said Heath Kid, I seen that, but I never went in there. I had no idea what it was. So when I got back, I went to Heath Kid. Time I walked in, one was sitting right there in the case.
You're like,
beautiful.
let me count my money before.
I said, I want that right there.
What was it? 220?
220, yeah. SB 220. I said, I want this right here. It was 327, I think that's what it was, something like that. Didn't cost that much. He said, well, what I have to do is order you one. He said, that's my display right there. I can't sell that. That's my display. I said, okay. So I bought it. About 2 weeks later, the guy called and told me your amplifier's back. Oh, man. I was speeding getting up to Roswell to get that amplifier. And when I got there, I was shocked. I thought it was going to be the same thing I saw in the store. It was on a box. 2 boxes. One box had tubes. The other box had everything else. So really, I really thought that was it in the box. I got home and opened that box, and I was completely sick. What in the world I'm going to do with all this? Because I don't know nothing about electronics. I don't know none of that stuff. I didn't even have a soldering iron. I was sick, man, because I thought I was going to get home and start talking on the radio.
Yeah, no.
No. So a guy named Master Chef, told me, he used to work on radio, so he told me I can build it for you. So I carried it over to him, and I kept calling him every day. He said, no, it ain't quite ready. I kind of found out later he didn't build it. Another young guy did it. That was, you know, because when I got the book, I kept looking at it. Each page in the book, right at the bottom where he stopped at, he put his initial, WS. WS. I said, who in the world is WS? So I asked Master Chef, I said, man, what is the WS? He said, oh, that's where I stopped. You know, just where I stopped. That's what WS there, where I stopped. I said, okay.
Where I stopped.
Yeah. So I'm thinking. So when I got the box home, I turned it on with the broom handle. I'm serious.
Okay.
I stood back, I got the broom handle and done on. Zoo. I said, hey, it's working, it's on. All right, I had ran my, I had a Johnson transmitter. I had ran that to it and everything, then my antenna to the back. I said, I got all that set. So here we go. The key to Mag. Nothing but 100 watts. I said, this thing is not working. I got on the phone. I called Master Chef. I said, man, I put 100 watts in here. I'm in 100 watts out. He said, you key the amplifier. I said, key the amplifier. He said, yeah, you know those 2 wires? There's 2 wires there. He said, touch them and see one of that amplifier key. Just touch them. That ain't going to hurt you. Just touch them wires. So you need to put your toggle switch. I said, yeah. So I touched the wires and the key. Ding. You know, the Heath Kit key. Okay. So I laid it down, touched the wire, and hit the microphone. Boom, I saw watts. I said, ooh, now we go. There we go. So what I did, I had a toggle switch. So I hooked it up right quick where I can flip it, you know. Oh, man, it was something else, man. So I've talked on that for a while, but I couldn't I couldn't get it to. I couldn't get about 700 watts or something. I couldn't get it out of it because he had it on a different something band. I don't know, but I got the band. I put it over on 10 meters.
Yeah.
That's when I saw right at 1,000 watts. I keyed it up, tuned it up. It would key 1,000 watts, go forward about 1,200. I had a Drake watt meter. Remember those old watt meters?
Yeah.
I flipped it on reverse. Needle just barely moved. I said, okay, talking right now, so I got it going on. So that's my theory with that Heath kit. It worked, lasted a long time till I started burning up transformers. My wife
So when was the first time the neighbor come over and was like,
well, where I was living at before, when I was at that station, nobody bothered me. The lady next door, she used to tell me a lot of times, she said, you don't be coming to my story today. Don't come to my story today. She'd be teasing me like that. That's okay. So she didn't have, that's all she would say. But the dude that lived directly in front of me, he was on a hill. Like, you go up his driveway, you can just look over my house,
right?
And I had no idea I was coming through his TV. One day, Lil Cubic, same guy I was telling you about, he used to like to come over. He would talk because he couldn't talk at home because he was tearing up everything over there. So I was next door. I was across the street talking to my neighbor. He came in. He came on. He just went downstairs and started talking on the radio. When he keyed up, he just come through that man's stereo system so loud. I jumped up. I was trying to turn it down. The thing wasn't even on. I said, man, I don't know I'll be coming through your station like that. He said, man, yeah, you come through this, man. I said, look, man, the mistake I made, let's just give me a call, man, when I'm doing this. I said, because I get off, He said, okay. So one morning must have been about 4 o'clock in the morning, I turned the radio on. I went downstairs, turned the radio on, and Skip was coming out of New Jersey. At that time of morning, I keyed one key, phone rang. Ring.
Got you on speed dial now.
Yeah. Told me, hey, yeah, you need to turn it off. You coming through. I said, all right, man. So after that, I kept talking for a while. He didn't ever say nothing else to me, man. So that got that. So I talked a long time over there. But what I would do, I wouldn't talk after 6 o'clock in the evening.
Yeah.
I didn't talk. I would talk
Just cut 'em
mornings.
off,
But Jack would talk in the evenings during that time. It was a Jack of Diamond hour, like from 6 o'clock in the evening, 7 o'clock in the evening. He was down in Palmetto. And he would talk at evening, Jack of Diamonds hour. So I wouldn't even keep mine at that time of evening, so.
So you got to where you were burning the transformers out of the SBs. What were you doing? Did you guys maybe gut them and add another tube?
Well, what I was doing, I was running it on the SSB because I got more power over there.
Of course, yes.
The transformer didn't like it. But they didn't call it $35. But I think the tube was $35. A tube with 3
What was the cheapest you ever paid for a 3500Z?
$35. $35 was about the cheapest I paid for one. And the transformer didn't cost that much more.
What was the hourly wage back when you were burning up tubes back then? So it was like
Ooh, man, probably, I don't know. What was I making out then? Because I was at the PO, man. I might have been making, about 12? Probably.
It's about 2 hours worth of time.
Yeah.
3 hours worth of time, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Then I sent my amplifier down to New Orleans, and one of my ham buddies, Amos, put another tube in it.
Of course.
And
the natural progression of things.
And put another transformer on the back, had a piggyback transformer, put another transformer on the back. And I had that vomit, he put that, had a, what you call them, a verifier, variable, something.
Variac?
Thank you. It was on a big box. And that vomit would do 700. I had a 750 vomit driving it then. I had all my stuff in the wall, had the vomit in the wall, heat kit in the wall, watt meter in the wall, all that stuff. So anyway, but when I would key the mic, I would turn that up. And I would put, how many watts I was doing was going in that heat pit. I had
a little bit of drive.
I had a fan on top of the heat kit, 2 fans on the side of it, and 1 in the back. That was just blowing it. And I have put as much as 1,200 on those 3 tubes. And that wasn't me. And then check this out, I didn't have a bird meter. I had to talk with my Drake on reverse. That way the needle wouldn't come up just a little bit when I was talking because it just kill it when I put it on the other side.
Right.
Yeah, so I just talked on
And
reverse.
Drakes are only good at what, 2,000 watts? Or
That's
something like
it. Yeah, so I was doing more than that. And so a guy that used to build radios around here, he's dead now. His name was, he was called Leroy. Well, he built that. So I,
That's so cute. Jack of Diamonds had one of his granddaughters in there with him, and it's like, now listen, I only like you a little bit, just a little bit. She like, oh, Grandpapa, quit it. You love me lots. She got him wrapped around his finger. Oh, it's so cute.
yeah.
So he's the guy that built that.
He, the guy that built that, he came over and he said he wanted to check my station out. He asked me how many watts I was running. I said, I don't know, you know. So he come out there, he had the bird meter and all this stuff. So he put I don't know what slug he put in there. But when I keyed the Mac, it just nailed it in the corner. He said, whoa, wait a minute. So he put a 5,000 slug in there. So I keyed the Mac and boom, it hit right at 5, but it came back to about 45. He said, man, I didn't know you were running this over here. You're running 4500 watts. I said, yep. And as long as the fan was on, it worked. You know, I didn't have to burn up the transformer no more. Only problem I had with that when that guy put the when he put the other tube in and the piggyback transformer, the only problem I had, it was just kicking the fuse. So I called him. I said, man, this thing kicking the circuit breaker, no fuse. I said, man, this thing kicking the circuit breaker. Every time I get ready to talk, man, it's kicking the circuit breaker. He said, oh man, I forgot. He said, short it out. I said, short what out? He said, the circuit breaker. I said, how am I going to do that?
Safety is the last thing on our mind here.
Yeah, he told me how to do it. You know, I got a piece of wire some kind of way and touched it both sides of it and soldered them on.
Yeah.
And then that was it. And the circuit breaker on the wall would come on, but I never did pop that. So yeah, my story with the Heathkit, man. And then I moved. I got rid of everything.
Did you ever get up to a 4-tuber or anything like that?
Huh? 4-tuber?
4-tuber? 3500Z? No.
Nope. Because I got out of radio. I got out of radio in 80 and 80. When did we move? 81, I believe it was. I got out of I sold everything because we moved over in College Park. And over in that area, there's no way I could have put a tower up or talked on the radio over there, you know. So
A little uppity up? Little uppity up neighborhood?
Oh, yeah. So I got rid of everything and then sold my house and bought that one over in College Park. And I left my tower at the old house, and 161 asked me about the tower. I said, yeah, man, I still got it. I said, it's up in there. You got to take it down. So I said, meet me over at the old house. So he met me over there. So the lady was there that bought the house. I said, I come to get this tower now. You know what she told me? What tower? I said, you hadn't seen this tower? It's a 70-foot tower in your backyard. You never seen it? She said, what you talking about? We walked out. I said, that up there. She said, you know, I had never paid any attention to that. I could not believe that. I said, how in the world you couldn't see that tower when you put in the driveway?
She must have had other things to think about.
Huh?
Must have had some other things to think about.
I know, that's right. So I got that down, and he got all of that. And so eventually, I went to a break in St. Louis. Big Motor. You met him?
Not yet.
Big Motor was living in Vegas at the time. And he called me and told me, man, why don't you come to the break in St. Louis? I said, man, I ain't going to no break, man. I don't know anybody. Man, I ain't been on the radio in so long, man. I've been out of radio 20 years, man. I ain't going on no break. So I went. When I got there, walked in, I was registering. Some dude said 777, because I used to call myself 777 before I went to Godfather. And I turned around and I knew him as the guy out of Detroit. Man, I was glad to see him. I hadn't seen him in years. And then Cold Duck out of Cincinnati and his wife walked through the door, and I looked and I seen them. We was pointing at each other. Then I started enjoying it, everything, you know.
And this was 1980 what?
This right here was in the 90s now. You know, I'm moving on up. It was in the 90s because I had been out of radio for years.
About 10, it sounds like.
Yeah, so when I got back in, that's what happened. I hadn't got in radio, but when I went to that break, what got me in radio, these guys was on Pal Talk. Sinbad room. Miss Sinbad was there, and everybody was there. I met all those people, you know, and they all was talking about was that. I came back, I bought me a big old used doggone computer, and I kept messing with that. And Big Motor taught me how to get in Prime Minister's room. Mm-hmm. And every day I would go to Prime Minister's room, and I go to Sinbad's room. So I couldn't wait when I get off work to come home and get on the PC. And so I was at a break later on. I was at another break, and 721 was teasing me. He said, "Man, when you gonna get back in radio?" I said, "Man, I don't know, man." He said, "I'm gonna give you how you get your start. That guy got 100 feet of coax over there. He don't want but $50 for it. And it's a brand new coax. Says that'd be good for you." So I bought it. I brought it home and threw it under the thing. I said, "Well, I got coax." And then I bought a radio from King Arthur, a tram. I brought that home. I set that down. So I had a radio. I said, it just sit there, and then Big Motor came down. He was talking about get you something in your mobile. So what I did, I ordered a 20 pill box. I had trouble out in California to build me a box. He built me a 16 pill, had 4 drive and 16, all right? And I had during that time I had what model Benz that was? I forget, the 90 something Benz, I don't know what it was. But anyway, I put it in there. I could talk a little bit, but I wasn't talking right. I kept messing with it, and it started talking real good. You know, that 16P was really working. So I got rid of it. I sold it. I said, man, I ain't into this right here. I said, if I like talking on a base station. But I didn't really think I could put a base station over here, really. So eventually.
Was there an HOA over here yet?
Huh?
Was there an HOA here at that time or no?
In what?
A homeowners association.
No,
HOA.
still don't have one.
It's a pretty nice neighborhood to not have an HOA.
I know.
How does he got an antenna up over here?
Man, I put that, we've been up now. How long this thing been up now? Probably 10 years now, maybe, or longer, maybe 10 years. But I put it up, and Sarah told me, say, I was in there, I had a little old, I had a Palomar 350, Palomar 300 with the outside transformer. I had bought that from Jack Adama back in the day, and I carried it to Jacksonville, Florida, and gave it to my sister. And I bought a PDL2 beam from King Snake. He had took his beam down. I bought that and took it down. So I went to Jacksonville. I told my sister, I said, when I leave here, you're going to be talking. So I had gave her one for a car. So I got there. Her husband didn't too much want to be bothered with it. He didn't even help me out there putting that thing together. It was hot in Jacksonville. I mean, it was hot, man. I was sitting out there in that sun. But when I took it apart, I just taped it, you know, everything. So when I put the wire back around, I put everything right in place. I said, I got it. So I went and found a place. I bought a telescopic mast. I came back, I mounted that mast on the side of the house with a little bracket. I said, now I got a problem. How in the world am I gonna get this thing up in the air by myself? So what I did, I put guide wire on the beam, and I let it up to that guide wire got tight. And it was almost right where I wanted to put that little screw in there, and I kept getting it up a little bit, and I settled it in there. I said, okay, I got that. So I went and tied the rest of the guide wire down. I went in the house, turned it on, let it warm up, and started talking. Time I started talking, a guy in Texas come back. So just start skipping. Everybody in Jacksonville didn't key, because they thought I had brought my station down there. Because they know Evelyn didn't have a station when I got there, so they figured I had brought something big, but it wasn't that little Palomar. And she talked on it for a long time. And so when she stopped talking on it, when I got we got my antenna back, I went out and got it, because she wasn't using it.
Right.
So that's what I was talking on, the old Palomar. So Sarah told me, she said, well, you know you're coming through somebody's TV. I said, Sarah, I'm not coming through no one TV until they tell me I'm coming through their TV. Don't nobody tell me. I'll come up anytime I wanted to, at will, at night, anytime. Having a good time on that little Palomar. Till one Saturday morning, the doorbell rang. I went to the door. I didn't know who this lady was. She said, excuse me. She said, are you Mr. ATL, the Godfather? I said, yes. She said, the reason I'm asking you that, she said, I have changed cable companies twice. And the last guy saw your tower. He told me to ask you, check your tower out to see if you're on frequency because you're coming through my TV. I said, okay, then. We changed numbers and everything. So she went back home. So I called her, you know, and asked her, you hear me now? All that type of stuff. So, oh, yeah, I could hear myself. I was so loud. So as soon as I moved my beam off of her, she couldn't hear me.
Right.
But if I move them back, she would hear me. So I said, this is what I do. She said, well, you don't bother the TV upstairs. She says, this one you bothered, the one downstairs. I said, okay, well, I got some ferrite. John Deere had told me about some ferrites. I got a whole bunch of ferrites.
Rest in peace.
I went over there, I put them everywhere I could put them. All it did was made me sound better. That's all it did. Because she had one of those old TV, floor models, big screen TV
big
with all that
projection.
stuff in the back.
Yeah.
Couldn't get out of that thing, man. So what we would do when she would come home, if I was talking, she'd send me a little smiling face on the phone. I know then, don't key or move my beans. And that's how we got along. Nobody else, didn't bother anybody else. I didn't bother the guy next door. Only thing I would bother next door, he said that sometime his wife had a heater upstairs, had those coils in it.
You're coming out of
See,
here.
when I'm talking, the heater would go boom, 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 boom. She told him that, and he didn't believe her. He's saying no way in the world that's happening, you know. So anyway, other than that, and then they had the baby monitor. I said, well, I can highlight the one that come through the baby monitor, so that was no problem. So if I turn my beam straight across there now, he can hear me just a little bit. But other than that, he don't hear me at all. So what my neighbor did one day, she called me one morning. She said, no, I called her. I said, see, you had called me last night. I said, I know you couldn't hear me because I wasn't at home. She said, oh, no, I want you to key up and turn your antenna over here. I said, huh? She said, key your mic and turn your antenna over here. I said, okay. So I keyed the mic. I did the driver first. I said, hello, 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 hello. I said, you hear that? She said, no. So I hit the foot pedal. I said, hello, hello, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. She said, key up and say something. I said, I'm talking now while it's keyed. She said, neighbor, you good to go. I said, what you mean? She said, I don't hear you at all. I said, what did you do? She said, I bought my husband a flat screen TV.
I bought a couple of them for my neighbors too.
You did?
Oh, yes, sir. Hook that HDMI cable up and smile and be like, yeah, enjoy the high fidelity picture. Never hear from them again.
Hey,
they
that's
wave
something.
at you as they're driving by down the road, you know?
So right now, I just go west anytime I get ready, you know, because I don't bother her. Now, this lady right next door, she said that she just moved over there. She run that house over there. So she said, I was talking one day, and another guy do my yard. He lived directly when you pull out the driveway. That house sitting straight there. He there. So he told me, he said, what's up, Godfather? I said, what you mean? What you talking about? I'm reading the mail. I said, you hear me? He said, yeah. He said, I can hear you. He said, I got a little radio downstairs in my office, a little radio I turn on. He said, I can hear you really good on that. I said, no kidding. I said, okay. Well, evidently, he must have been talking to her or something like that. Because she mentioned it, you know. She mentioned him or something like that. She said, come through the TV. I said, come through. She said, no, the surround sound, you know. So that was, after she first moved there, but I ain't heard no more from her, you know. And I was talking to him one day. I turned my beams northeast. I turned them north. And he could hear me on his radio. He was downstairs. I called him, asked him, could he hear me? He said, I hear you right there, just a little bit. So I just moved the beams a little bit over a little bit. He didn't hear me at all. So it works pretty good.
So you went from the 300A here, and then, so now we got your driver there, and then you've got your big box over there. And how did you go from the 300A to where you're at now?
Oh, I had a guy, a ham operator, built me a 3000. Because when I was running, I just had him at the Palomar, and he built a 3000 for me. You know, it was a nice box, you know. A lot of guys say I talk better out of that thing than I did with what I got now, you know, because I had no problems talking with it. And I used to fight number 3 all the time with it, and he run a 15,000. And we would go back and forward. But I was running the daylights out of it now. I was running 8,000.
Yes, that's
I
a
was
lot from
dead
that
kid.
tube, yeah.
I know. And I can see right now that don't put no more than, don't let tube go more than about 400 watts. Don't put no more than 400 watts in that tube. It performs much better.
Oh, yeah. Lasts a lot longer, too.
So that's what I'm doing now. Because right now, I can run that tube right there. It'll do eight and a half, almost 9,000, but I don't do that. I'm not going to bring the tube
Better
up.
if there was a 6 in there with a little bit more plate bolts on it, but
Huh?
so we do a little bit better if it was a 6 in there with a little more plate bolts.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. I'm doing the same plate voltage on this 3,000 I was doing on the 6,000. I'm just doing 5,700 plate volts.
All right.
You know, I did one time. Like Van kept telling me, you know, the tube costs. You can do this. You can put more plate bolts on that tube. I said, yeah, and I'll be calling you next week. I said, it might not hurt the tube, but they're gonna hurt some other components in the box that I don't know.
So what was the biggest break you ever went to?
The biggest break had to been the biggest break was in LaGrange, Georgia. That was probably the biggest break because everybody came to that break. They had two breaks at the same time because the guys at the Camp Lejeune up in Jacksonville, North Carolina was having a break. And and the guy down in LaGrange, all power, and small driver, throw the brake. Well, small driver don't put that brake on down there. And that was about the biggest brake. And he did everything. I mean, I never seen a brake like that. He had food everywhere in the hospitality room where people were sitting around. His food stayed there all the time. People, if anything went out, they was bringing more food. And that's what spoiled everybody. Everybody thought all the brakes were going to be like that, but that was spent a lot of money for that brake to do it like that. And then people came, they was barbecuing, everybody was cooking out, people come in with their trailers and stuff. All the motels was full everywhere you go, people was there, and it was really nice, yeah. That was a nice break, but before that, the largest break normally would be at Camp Lejeune. A lot of people go to the camp every year. And that's when it started down there, because they just had a big shootout at the camp. Shy and all the guys down there. That what really got me, man, the first time, because I hadn't been to one of those breaks in a while. And when I went to that break at the camp, to the shootout, that was my first really shootout. Because when they were going to shootout, I didn't go. You know, I didn't go. I saw Shy, he cranked up that van he was in and mashed that thing. Sounded like a Delta plane. I said, man, I don't believe this stuff right here. And then I started looking all the alternators all the way across, man. I said, these guys is doing it in these mobiles, you know, so they still doing it. So they're still doing it out there.
Yeah, shootout down there in New Orleans.
Oh, yeah.
Man, that was an expensive trip getting from New Orleans up to here because it rained like...
no, man.
Lord, was it raining down there.
I was down there last month in New Orleans. Sure.
3-hour delay because of flooding. And I'm like, well, I ain't sitting here for 3 hours. So when I drove up through the country and went up through all the hollers and stuff up through the back way around, you know, 40 minutes more, but better than sitting on the interstate for 3 hours. And it was raining so bad at points I couldn't see the vehicle in front of me.
We're trying to pull over there, man.
But I hit something. I don't know what it was, but it caused one of the belts in my front tire to slip, and the one in the back broke.
You did?
So I got on the interstate, heading north up to Mississippi. I stayed in Meridian, Mississippi. So I made it that far, and man, I got up there, and that truck was just... I'm like, oh, wow, I spit a bearing, or not spit a bearing, spit a weight or something. I just figured I knocked a weight off, right? So I get up there and I look at all the tires and everything's round, and so I figured, well, I'm just going to put up with this. And I drove on over and I saw my friend in Alabama, and I pulled up in his driveway and he walks up and goes, man, that tire's not round no more. Whole center inside of the rim, or the tire was all bulged up. I looked at that and I said, well, I think we should probably take the air out of that before it blows up. So we bled the air out of it, and of course I got a full-size spare with matching rim, because just the way I like to roll. Put the new tire on it. Man, all of a sudden, no longer instead of a paint shaker. But I spent all day yesterday hunting down and dealing with tires. Hence the reason I got 4 new tires on the truck.
Oh, okay.
This morning. That was a little bit of money I wasn't planning on spending, but it's all good. I'm here, I'm safe. It don't matter.
Yeah.
It's a busy town down here.
Yeah, it's busy, man.
So... you got this one. What inspired you to sell the other 3,000 then? Or
so
what inspired you to get rid of the other 3,000 then?
I wanted to. I had bought this one, and I had the other 3,000 just sitting out there in the garage. And I forget the guy's name. He called me, asked me about it, and I have a 3,000 up here for sale. I said, yeah, I got it. And I told him what I wanted for it. He pulled on up here and got it. I said, bring somebody to help you load it.
He ain't picking it
They
up.
ain't picking up nothing. So he brought a dude with him, you know, they loaded it up. And it was nice. It was nice. It was Melvin had called me, King Snake. He called me and said, hey man, check EB, man. This dude got a 3,000 tube on there, man. And said don't have many hours on it. You know, that's okay. So I checked it out. So I didn't bid on it right then. I waited till they had about 2 minutes. And I put some crazy bid in there. Nobody matched it, so I got the tube what I paid for that tube? I paid about $340, $350 for the tube, maybe that much. And that tube did more watts than the one I had in it. The tube was really good, you know.
It's strong.
Yeah, but if I had been driving that 3,000 with this radio here instead of the tram, I would still have it. I sure would, because I know I can't go over, you know, I ain't gonna put no 10,000 in there. You know.
Let's go to a 15 or a 20.
And
We'll stop at no 10, just put a 15 or
yeah,
a 20
I could.
up
Yeah, you could do that, and then what I do, key it for about a week, and I'm gonna have problems. You know, right?
No. You've seen where I live. I live in suburbia like this.
And you run big. You in Prime got about the most powerful on the west side, don't you? What y'all run them 40s?
I'm on the air cooled and he's on the water cooled. Yes, sir.
That's on the difference.
The other difference is the amount of power that we got on the pole. He's got 75. I'm on a 50 kVA.
Oh, okay.
So I run out at about 65,000 average, and he's well over 100.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. Neither one of us run them like that.
No, he said no. He run over 10,000 watts.
I key 10, modulate forward a little bit, and that's about it.
Yeah. How about that? I seen that. I seen Prime Station, you know, with that water cool, putting that on. That was at his. I saw it at his old house, you know.
Yeah, the old house is impressive where he had it. I mean, not saying what he's got going on now is not impressive because it's impressive, but
Yeah.
I like the whole idea of being in a little separate building and
Oh yeah.
whole separate air conditioning unit, and yeah, it was really nice in there.
He had a doggone generator out there. He said a generator was worse than anything because it made a lot of noise, you know. And then he told me when I went to the new house, he was showing me where you can put everything. Then he said he was gonna buy that property next door. He bought it.
Generator hooked up on the house because on the power. I mean, I used to tease him relentlessly. Like he'd be like, "Man, the damn power went out." I'm like, And you got how big of a generator sitting in the backyard? So you don't think you might want to run an extension cord over to the house or something? You know, no, you never. Now he's got it on the house. That same generator he had brought over to the new place, but the new house is nice.
Yeah, it is. It is nice.
So you've been doing radio since 1970.
Right, 70 between. I think 1970 when I started. I really is. I was on the little walkie-talkies and
Did
stuff.
you get your license back then?
I had a license, KF something. Yeah, I did have I had a license.
KF, can't remember.
KFC 1955 or something like that. Yeah, I remember. You can't remember. And then I had a technician license, WA4YHR. And I was trying to let it expire. Give him a new place. So we're going to go over there later on and see him. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We was talking about what?
Shoot.
The phone messed me up.
Yeah. Oh, what your technician license? You probably let that go.
Oh yeah. I when I moved and everything, and I forgot because I hadn't been on board. It's supposed to be during that time. Just only could do code with their on 40 meters. I mean, with the technician. Mm-hmm. And what I did, I had a Heath kit on 40 meters. Mm-hmm. I had a antenna that I got. I threw a rock up in them pine trees where I lived over in College Park. Threw it up, brought it down, tied my little wire on it, and pulled it back up in there and wrapped it around and tied it. And I went in there and started talking. Sure did. And the only reason I stopped talking to guys in Louisiana told me, say, man, Ward gonna turn you in, man. Said, be careful, Ward might turn you in. So I stopped talking on it. And the only reason Ward was gonna turn me in because he's out there bragging. Oh, he was bragging. I just couldn't take it no more with that CB and stuff with me. Y'all tell Ward this is a Heath kit right here. I shouldn't have said that.
So you guys had a Heathkit realtor here, like an actual shop, where you could go order anything in Heathkit's profile, right?
Yeah, we had we had a Heathcote shop here.
What was its name?
It was up in, we had this guy, it was three different places you could go here in Atlanta. You could go up to Roswell Road and buy parts, and you can go over in East Point, Georgia. That guy had a radio shop there. But the guy that was in East Point, he the one moved to Jonesboro, not far from where we are now. And he had a shop there. He was a ham operator also. And he used to fix all of my stuff. He used to work, because I used to run the transmitter. I ran a Collins for 20 years. Because I wouldn't
You skipped over the whole, okay. Backpedal. When did you get the Collins?
Okay. I got that Collins. Okay, I had a Brown and Eagle. I was talking off that for a while, a long time. And I went to a break in Chicago. And I heard this guy come out that lived in Decatur. He talked on he was on the Collins transmitter. And that was the most beautiful sound I ever wanted to hear. Mm-hmm. And when I got back here, I called him, 125, I forget his handle. I said, man, if you ever want to get rid of that radio, that transmitter, let me know, you know. Because I had the Johnson before I bought the Brown and Eagle. So he called me one day, he said, hey, man, he said, I'll let you have this radio. He said, I got a Collins, he said, I got a National 300 that matches it. I got everything, man. I got extra tubes. I said, go ahead this way. He came on, I think they gave me $150 for that box, for that transmitter. And one for the national receiver. I think I spent less than $500 on all of it. So I put that Collins in line. See, it didn't drift like the Johnson, because the Johnson, you got to operate that. Like if you're talking to me while I'm listening to you, I'm zero beating you. So when I go back, I'll be right on frequency.
Right.
Yeah, so I had to zero beat everybody I talked to because it's drift.
Right.
Collins didn't drift. I'd never turn it off. The tube stayed the same temperature all the time. Only time it went off if the current went off. I never turned it off. It just stayed on all the time, and I had no problems with it, man. I had a D104 going to it, and it sounds so good. I should have never got rid of that, but that was a nice radio. I used to go on 26905 at 11 o'clock my time. And I would talk to a country preacher out there. He was in Pasadena, California. We would talk every day. Sometimes it'd be so low we can't hardly hear each other. And then again, we'd be real loud. I never ran nothing but the transmitter. And we would talk every day at 11 o'clock. Go back to 6, no skip anywhere. It was a lot of fun, man.
I tell you, the whole skip thing is different down here
in the South.
Because I'll sit there on Pal Talk and listen to you guys talk about how the skip you've had, and I'm like, man, I skipped for like 3 months. Of course, now that the solar cycles come way up, but, the skips every day, but there for a while, you guys down in the South, down here, Atlanta, Mississippi, all the way across the bottom of the country, you guys would get skip every day. We didn't.
Every day? And in California, the West Coast has been in here, all last year, all this year. Mm-hmm. You were probably it stopped for maybe about 2 weeks. California came right back. Yeah, and it's been back ever since, man. But I tell you who got the best condition on the West Coast right now? Fireball.
So I think he spends a lot of time talking.
Huh?
He spends a lot of time talking.
Yeah, he be there. Because a lot of times I hear him.
Everybody else except for Motormouth. And, Motormouth worked for his money, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that a lot of these guys have got jobs. Like 12, and 63, and them guys, they've all got full-time jobs. Right, okay. Uh-huh. Like myself, I don't have enough time to sit around talking radio. I wish I had enough time to sit around talking radio all day, but then I'd be off doing other shit, so. No, I sat the other day and I listened to Fireball. I think he took maybe a 20-minute break and back on. And I think that was because he was pooping or something. I don't know. I mean, but he talked from I drove for 14 hours straight the other day, and he talked from sunup to sundown. Yeah. And then into the dark. And I'm like. And then he'll do that all day long, and then you come in and go on Pal Talking there, and there talking. Oh, yeah, until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. He's back out there at 6. Yeah. And even if somebody keys on him, he ain't never going to admit it. No one's ever keyed on me. I've got the Miracle Station down on the Salton Sea. I remember years ago, we used to be in that vehicle. We used to go to some mountain somewhere. We would talk in the morning, on Sunday mornings. We would be all day in that mobile. I hear a generator in the background. Wah.
Yeah,
He had a
yeah.
little 3000 or whatever it was that Getaway put in there for him.
Yeah. No, man, I couldn't do. I might, I don't know. If I got I can't. 10,000, I probably could run it, but I don't have all my current are underground, and I don't. I tell you what I did.
What
About
do you got for service here? About 200 amps?
200 amp server.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Tell you what happened about a
No
month,
problem.
about 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago. I keyed the Mac. The lights went out in the house. I went in the bedroom. The lights was on in there, but wasn't no lights nowhere else. I said, "What in the world going on?" Then my phone popped up from Georgia Power saying that a current was out at this address, and it'll be 3 hours before someone can get over here. I said, "Okay." So I called anyway. So finally, somebody came by here. I didn't know it, but they came back on. I said, "Wow, they back on." I'm so happy. So I said, "I wonder what caused that." You know what I did? Flipped the box on, man, and he boom, cut them off again. So this time it took them about 3 hours to get out of here. So what the guy told me, he said he brought me a portable 25 kV. Or was it 25 kV? I believe that's what it was. It's a little portable thing. He put it out on the side of the house and plugged it into the box, the meter box. Mm-hmm. He said, "You got a short somewhere." He said, "But the guys will come out here and find out where it is and give you a new line." I said, "Okay." So I wouldn't key the Mac as long as that thing was out there. He told me, "Say, they'll run your dryer, run everything." But I wouldn't key the box on it. I wouldn't, I said, "I don't want to burn that up." So they finally come out here, they fix it, and what had happened, they didn't have to change the line. It's a little box sitting right there, a little green box sitting there by the edge of the street. Mm-hmm. The one of the wires, one of those big wires going in there, had shorted out inside that box. He said, because they shake like that, and they had to come loose and short it out. So they just cut that part off and pushed it back up in there and tighten it up again. He said, "Oh man, you're good to go." I said, "Okay." He said, "You run everything you want to run. You're good to go." I said, "Well, let me ask you a question. How many houses on this line?" He said, 8. So there's 8 people on that little thing out there. So if I got a bigger box, like a 10,000, I'm not gonna have enough. It ain't gonna feed it. It probably would. I probably could run. I could run that. I just wouldn't try to run it, tune it all the way out. I could just tune it and bag it back or something like that. Or bite my watch, drive back.
Tune all the way out and back your drive down.
Yeah.
Didn't at one point you have a black SB220 that you did up?
Huh?
Didn't you have an all black faced SB220 you did up?
Mm.
You were telling me about the variable bias and stuff too. I remember that way back in the day.
Oh, I had that was SB220, but it was the same one that I had bought. That's the one the guy had put another tube in and all of this stuff. That's the same one.
Yeah, it was really pretty. You sent me pictures of it.
Yeah.
Mm. It was black on black on black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the one. I'm trying to remember. No, that one wasn't black. Because I done had 2 of those heat kit 3 tubers. The one I had back in the day, I don't know where that one is. But I bought one from a dude from Alabama, and it was a black power supply that was to sit on the floor to go in, and it hooks up to the box. He had 3 tubes in it, and I ran that. That's what I was running. And
well, there's something about the 3 and the 4 tube Z boxes. They just flat get with it.
Yeah.
For what they are.
Yeah, they're some nice little boxes, man. I just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just enjoy that 3 tuber, man.
Did you talk today?
Yeah, did I talk today? Yes, I talked to 747. I just hollered at him, and he hollered back, and then so I was calling somebody, and Dynamite White called me. I went back to him, and I didn't talk anymore today. That's the only 2 people I talked to. Yeah. I'm waiting on a blower for this thing here. It ain't blowing those tubes, right? The blower is down. That's why I got that piece of paper on it right there.
Yeah, I've seen it.
So I can I can watch my airflow. If that paper's not moving, I know it's not blowing. Yeah. I tap it and it come back, and blower's supposed to be in tomorrow. So
Get that changed out real quick.
Yeah, put a blower back there.
Well, my man, thank you.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you, man. So nice to meet you, man. Let me ask you something.
Okay.
Now, you can be talking,
Yeah.
and you don't know about the dark side. How you do that? How did that? You got a mixture?
No, I just I got a little soundbite thing that's on my computer, and I just hit play.
Oh, so
And
you
I got it set up so when I key the mic, it triggers it sometimes.
Okay.
But I'm not hitting that button as much as I used to.
Yeah. I like Motormouth does it too. He has a
John's in a whole different
man
dimension when it comes to that.
I'm telling you, man. I told him one day, I said, man, if I had buttons like that on this station here, I said, I'd turn into a crazy disc jockey. You guys wouldn't want to hear me on the radio at all. That I could do like I did at the station because I had the my little drop-ins.
Yeah.
See, back in the day, man, we had, it was a long time ago, and I worked in radio. I'd be sitting like here. There's a turntable over here, and there's one on this side. Turntable on both sides, and you got your right with your commercials and all of this stuff in.
With the drop-in cartridges.
Yeah, I used to go in the production room, and I would make all kind of little stuff. So when I'm talking, I just don't hit one of them. Get on down and tell them, brother. Dun, 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 dun. All that little crazy stuff, man. We used to do it, man. And one day, one of the guys called me. They used to call me a lot of times to come down and do commercials or something like that.
Yeah.
Larry Chensley. He on the air now. He's been on the air 50 years, over 50 years. He on the air. He works now. He do station now. Anyway, he called me when they told me to meet him at their studio over in Decatur. Told me the address and everything. I went over there. I thought we was going to do a commercial. He said, man, I got this soundtrack, man. Listen to this music. Dun, 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 dun. I said, man, that's nice. He said, yeah, I don't have any words. I said, hell, we make up some words, man. So we just had a bunch of guys there and some girls were there. So we just got to having fun and having a couple of drinks, and we just made up some words and produced that record right here. It's old. Get Off Your Seats and Jam by the Southside Coalition. Now, this one record this record here was we used to play this one at the radio station, and I happened to find it. And I got a box of 45s, and I was looking through it one day, and I found this 45. I said, "Well, I forgot about this record here. Get Off Your Seats and Jam."
So, you get any royalties off that?
Very little. Larry got most of it.
Of course.
Yeah, that, I just got for mine. What he did, he paid me to use. What I did, he paid me for my drop-in.
Okay.
Yeah, but he got the royalties on it, man. And I heard it. I went on YouTube one day and listened to it. I said, boy, my daughter, she said they were little. I got off from work, and they would wait for me to come in the door. So just as I opened the door and walked in the house, doom, 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 doom. They said, man, they said, Dad, they played this on the radio.
I don't care about you guys' dresses to the prom.
Yeah, man. But anyway, man, it's nice, man. I hope you. So, how long you gonna be here in Georgia?
I do the guys up the street tomorrow. I really want to get King Snake.
Yeah. Okay.
Really, really want to sit down with him and get his history, and then I'm going to go down and do Ebony, and then I'm going to take my time getting down to down to New Orleans.
Oh, okay.
And see him being an hour and something south of here, so I'll spend the night out there by him because it doesn't make no sense to drive north an hour or whatever.
And then come, yeah.
Even though in theory it would be a little bit shorter if I was to take the interstate. Mm-hmm. But I'm positive that there's a country road or something that I can take across the south end of Georgia or just continue on south and go follow the coast down.
Yeah, you could do. Well, no, your GPS will cut you across. Well, you want to get back to 85, right?
However it takes me.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I might go down and run a hotel right on the bottom end of Georgia or Florida or something and spend the night and then
just drive across. Yeah.
I'm not in any hurry at this point.
Okay.
I'm not in that big a hurry to get to the break, but in the same breath, I want to go to the break and see a lot of people.
Oh, you can see a lot of people at the break. I was planning on going. I don't think I'm going to make that one, though. I'm going to go to the one in Texas.
Yeah, that's going to be the big break of the year.
Yeah.
If they can get it all pulled together.
Because I used to go to New Orleans every year, to New Orleans break, so.
Yeah,
I hadn't been in the last 3 breaks.
I don't know where the hotel's at. I don't care. I'm going to go and.
It's near the airport.
Yeah.
I think it is near the airport.
Go have a good time.
Yep.
Thank you again.
Thank you, man. Thank you very much.